Hey guys, it's Nicholas here from upgradeTolife.com, and in this video we are going to talk about how to really pray, manifest your goals like this. So when you understand what prayer and praying actually means, then this whole manifesting game, the whole law of assumption, the whole teachings of Neville Goddard will make a lot of sense to you, because you need to remember that Neville took his knowledge and it's not that he actually has his own kind of teaching. It's just that he interpreted the Bible in his way and he explained what is meant by certain things. And he uncovered that the Bible actually is like a metaphysical masterpiece. And he realized that it's not about people, it's not about stories that happened, but it's about the workings of consciousness, of life, of states of consciousness, of how manifesting works. And then he discovered what prayer actually means. So don't be shocked when you hear this. Don't think that this is something that has to do with religion and stuff like that. We're talking about straightforward, straight to the point manifestation topics here. So you will enjoy this video, trust me. And this will definitely help you to manifest your goals more effortlessly, more easy, and you will understand more of what is actually going on. So this has nothing to do with going on your knees and begging for God, praying to God that He gives you something. Absolutely not. Okay, because you will eventually realize that there is no external entity that you can pray to. You are God. You are this consciousness. You are this whole universe experiencing itself through you. Okay, so this will be a really beneficial video. It may be a little bit longer again, but I really want for you to get this, and I want to make this step by step. So before I jump in, just a quick side note: if you want to learn more about this, apply the law of assumption, apply Neville's teachings, manifest your goals, live more self-empowered without any fluff or woo or any hype, and you just want straight to the point talking, then check out the free masterclass. It's only 18 minutes long. You will find it in the video description. And if you want to work with me, then you can also apply for a free 45-minute consultation call with me to see if we are a good fit to work in my program. You'll also find the link for that in the description. And so with that, let's jump into this video and talk about how to pray, how to manifest your goals the right way. And as always, I want to explain that and share with you some quotes by Neville, because that summarizes everything, and I will give my comments to that. So first of all, we're going to talk about the definition of praying. What is meant by this word pray and prayer and praying? Really easy, actually. So praying then is recognizing yourself to be that which you desire to be, rather than begging God for that which you desire. The whole of life is the appeasement of hunger and the numberless states of consciousness from which the individual can think and view the world. Prayer is a means of satisfying that hunger. I say this because your state of consciousness is always being externalized. If you know how to move from your present state, if you dislike it, to the state you would like to externalize, then you have the secret. So let me explain this to you, right? I think this is pretty easy, because praying is recognizing yourself to be that which you desire to be, right? It's realizing that you already are that which you desire to be. Like Neville said, you are already that which you desire to be. Only your refusal to believe it is the reason why you don't see it. Now the question is, okay, but how can we recognize something? How can we recognize that we are already our ideal and that we already have our goals? The answer is with imagination, but I will explain that later in this video. And then he goes on, and then he says, right, it's not begging God, right? It's not begging someone, some entities, some external God. It's realizing that this is already within you, that this is already within your imagination, within your consciousness. It is already you, it's here, it's present, it's there right now. But it's recognizing that we already that. And so then he says, and this is a really awesome way to explain that, he says, the whole of life is the appeasement of hunger, right? And there are numberless states of consciousness from which someone can think and view the world. If you are in a state of poverty, you view the world differently than if you are in a state of wealth. You see more opportunities, you see that money is easy to get, easy to come. And What now praying is a means of satisfying that hunger, right? So if you are poor or broke, just an example, or you live in poverty and your desire is wealth, so your hunger, basically, you are hungry for the wealth, then through praying, and again in this video where I'm going to explain to you how to do that, but through the art of praying, you satisfy that hunger, which means you still the hunger and you realize, I'm already wealthy. So that's one example. If you're lonely, if you're single and you want to be in a relationship or with someone specific, same way, right? As long as you're desiring that and wanting that, you're hungering for it. But if you satisfy that hunger through praying, you recognize that you are already it. And that's like what praying means. It's a means of satisfying this hunger, this desire, this need. And I say this because your state of consciousness is always being externalized. I made a video called Your Life Reflects Your Chosen State of Consciousness. Watch this, because this is what happens, right? Your life reflects not what you want, not what you desire, but what you are conscious of being, what you are identified with, what you assume to be true and accept to be true, your state. So if you know how to move from your present state to your desired state, then you have the secret. And that is like the secret, like that is like the main thing that I also talk about in this free masterclass. That's why I recommend you watch that. Link is in the video description, because that is what we want to do. Right? We don't want to focus on shiny objects, on techniques here and there, on this, on that. We want to do and shift at the deepest level possible, because then everything else dissolves on its own. Now let's continue. So Neville also said prayer is the master key. A key may fit one door of a house, but when it fits all doors, we claim to be a master key, right? Such and no less a key is prayer to all earthly problems, right? Understand that. He says prayer, exactly what we're going to talk about in this video, is the master key that literally opens you any door, right? A normal key of a house can open like some doors, but prayer is actually the key to all earthly problems, to all desires, to all goals that you might have. Now, he continues and he says, to enact a scene that would imply the fulfillment of my desire and then surrender completely to my Father, for he has the power to externalize it. I do not know how to do it on this level. I haven't the wisdom. I haven't anything on this level to do it. My faith is faith in my Father, faith in his power to externalize what I've done, all in imagination. So for me, that is prayer. And I want you to get this, okay? First part, you should already notice while watching my videos and while learning about Neville, is to enact a scene that implies the fulfillment of your desire. And then you surrender in faith to the Father. What is the Father? The Father is the consciousness. And there's also this quote saying, me and my Father are one. So basically you and your Father are one. Basically meaning you, like the physical you, like the mind, body and all of that stuff, and your consciousness is one. Like you are inseparable from your true self, from this infinite awareness and consciousness. It is one, right? But on this human level, you don't have the wisdom. You don't know the bridge that is going to unfold. You don't know how things are going to come to pass and change. However, the Father, which Neville calls like your consciousness, this infinite self, this deeper aspect of you that is really subtle, that you cannot see or feel or touch or sense, because it is your true self. That's why you cannot see it, right? You cannot observe it. You cannot observe the observer. You cannot observe your true self. This true self has the power to manifest, right? Whatever it is aware of, whatever you imagine. And this is prayer. So learn how to pray. Master it and make your world conform to the ideal you want to experience. Stop thinking of and start thinking from. I made a video called The Art of Thinking From. So if you want to learn more about thinking from, then check out the video that I did on this. So to think from the wish fulfilled is to realize that which you will never experience while you are thinking of it. When you put yourself into the state of the wish fulfilled and you think from it, you are praying. And in a way, your reasoning mind does not know your wish will become a fact in your world. Exactly like I explained it to you before, right? So thinking of means desire, want, it's not here yet, you think of it constantly. Thinking from is that you are in that state of having it, of being it. And when you put yourself right into the state of the wish fulfilled, into the state of it's already done, and you move because you use like the art of praying, then your wish will become a fact. Then you will manifest it. So Neville also said you can be the man or woman you want to be when you know how to pray. All things are possible to him who believes. Therefore, learn the art of believing and persuade yourself it is true. Right? Learn the art of using your imagination consciously to put yourself into this state of that it's done. Right? That is what praying is. And I'm going to explain this in even more detail to you, so don't worry if you don't get it now. Prayer to the world means begging. Most people pray to God to change something in their lives or to give them something they do not have. If their prayers were not answered, they think that God had a reason for withholding that particular thing. They think that perhaps God didn't grant their request because he didn't want them to attain their desire for some reason known only to God. Man sometimes thinks that God doesn't answer prayers because man is undeserving of that which he seeks. And we definitely have to cover that, right? Because again, like I said in the beginning, when people hear the word prayer, people think it's begging, it's pleading for something. It's like begging someone, some God to do something and give them something. But when we understand Neville, we understand that we are this God, that our awareness of being, right? Just for a moment, take a deep breath and realize that you exist, that you are now, that you are here. And that is God. That is your consciousness. That is the Father. That is the Creator. That is the universe. That you existing, that sense of existing, it's inseparable from your experience. So that's your true self. It's really subtle. You can in the I Am meditation tap into that. And so, right, it's not begging. And most people, but most people think that they pray to God, that someone somehow magically gives them something and changes something in their world, but they don't realize that they have this power within themselves, that there is no external God. And you can prove it to yourself. Don't take my words, don't take Neville's words, don't take what he said or what anyone out there is telling you. Apply it. Just test it for yourself. Just do some manifestations, do some exercises, do some applications, and you will see more proof of, yes, like that's true, that's awesome, that's unbelievable even sometimes, but it's true. So, and then people say, oh yeah, maybe that's not supposed to be, maybe some God don't wants me to have this, or the Creator don't wants this goal for me and all of this bullshit, but it's not true. You only free or like prison yourself, but there's no one else out there that does something for you. So man must learn to believe in that which he does not at the moment see in order to grant himself that which he desires to have. Man's prayers are always answered, for he always receives that which he believes. The law that governs prayer is impersonal, right? And that is also the answer when people then say, oh, why is there poverty on earth when people can manifest, and why do people experience like negative things and stuff like that? Because consciousness, your true self, is impersonal. It doesn't care if you are in a state of poverty or wealth. It doesn't care if you are in a state of being lonely or being not lonely, being in fulfilled relationships. It doesn't care if you think that you are like, you have an awesome body or you have a really bad body image. It does not care, right? It only gives and reflects that which it is aware of and in which state you are. So it is impersonal. And belief is the condition necessary to realize the desire. No amount of police or ritual will bring about the fulfillment of your desires other than the belief that you are or have that which you want. Right? And the question is, okay, how can you believe? Right? Neville says, belief is the condition necessary to realize your desire. So the question is then, okay, but how can you believe something that you don't see at the moment, that is not currently there? And or if you don't feel yourself that you make 5K, 10K, 20K, 100K a month, how can you make yourself believe it and feel it? Through imagination, through imagining something that implies it. It is always the answer, guys. It's always the answer. Now, how do I do it? Right now, we're coming more like the practical application part. So now, how do I do it? Now, you listen carefully. It's a simple technique, but it will take practice on your part to master it. Yet it is simple. As everything that Neville shared, right? It's pretty simple. It's not always easy, but at the end it's really simple. And with some application, with some testing, you will see that it is very, very simple. Now, when I have a desire, now that's my desire. I know exactly what I want. I'm pointing directly at it. That's my desire. I'm pointing. So to point the true direction, I'm thinking of it when I have a desire, like we covered before, right? You have a desire, all right, that's good. Desires are good. But still, if you are desiring and you continue to desire, you think of it, right? But now I must transform it from thinking of to thinking from. You want to shift from thinking of that, being in the state of not having it, to shift in the state of having it and being it. That's the shift. You can only think from something. Let's take an example, okay? Let's say you're currently watching this video on your smartphone or your laptop. So when someone would ask you, hey, like, that's a random example really, but do you have a laptop? Do you have a smartphone? You say, yeah, of course. Like, when you walk around, you just know that this is yours. This is normal. This is natural to you, right? You have this object. And this, you can make everything natural to you. Even if it seems very far away, if it seems very difficult, you can make any goal, any desire, any state natural by filling your consciousness with already having that. I made a video called The Feeling of Naturalness. I really recommend you check this out. It explains to you how to make it more natural over time. But that's what we want to do, right? We want to transform from thinking of to think from. I'll show you what I mean. Okay, Neville now gives us a great example, so stay with me and this will change your approach. I stand here and I desire to go elsewhere. Name it, I say New York City. But time will not allow it, and maybe finances will not allow it. Maybe my commitments will not allow it. But I desire to go to New York City. And you can use this for everything. Not only if you want to travel or go somewhere, for everything, right? And use this example, right? Make it simple. So Neville takes an example. He wants to go to New York, but his circumstances do not allow him to do so. While standing here, I dare to assume that I am right now in New York City. The act of assumption is a departure from this body of darkness, the very act of assumption. I assume that I am in New York City. Well, were I in New York City, I would think of those I know here and love here, wouldn't I? Well then, if I think of them, where are they? Down the street? Over here in the hills? Or are they 3,000 miles away from where I am standing? Okay, you will get this. If I am in New York City, then anyone I think of in this area that I know would have to be relative to where I am assuming that I am. That's my test. Have I really succeeded in moving towards New York City? This is what thinking from means, okay? I want you to get this. Desire is to be in New York City. Then what is Neville doing here? Neville is basically imagining and like assuming that he is right now in New York City. So when he puts himself imaginative into New York City, into that state of already being there, right? Because he assumes that he already is there. Then if he's already there in imagination right now at this moment while he assumes that, then he must in that moment see his friends and his families that are not in New York from like this point of view of being in New York, and he would see them differently. He would know, oh, they're 3,000 miles away. They maybe think of me and I will see them again in some weeks because he is internally in New York. This is called the frame of reference. When you know that you have internally shifted into this new state, you start to see people that you know differently. Why did I made a video? It's called the frame of reference. It's really important and can really help you. So I will link it here. You can check it out. And again, that's my test. You can test if you've moved, if you see the people that you know, friends, family members, closely related people differently. Then you know you are in imagination there where you want to be. Now, the word prayer means literally motion towards, a session to. at or in the vicinity of. Well, prayer is motion towards. It's learning how to move. But again, before I continue, right, I just said it's learning how to move, but it's not learning how to move physically. I'm sure you can move. You know how to move, right? You know how to go from one place to your kitchen or to anywhere else. But this is the internal movement. This is the inner movement from where you are right now to where you want to be, but internally. That is this inner shift. That is praying. You move towards while praying, while satisfying that hunger, so that you finally arrive internally to already where you want to be, to already have what you want to have. Right? It is learning how to move. So I stand here and I can move towards anything in my world. I've moved toward a change on that bank balance. That's motion. Any change is motion. I can't see any change that does not include motion. Right? So you can right now look at your bank account. It's not pleasant, but you can internally move to a state of being financially secure, having more financial resources, and feel that bills or checks you have to pay, stuff like that, does not really bother you, because you internally are so moved into this new desired state where money is easy, or where money is accessible, and you have enough. I change this. That's motion. I move from here to there. That's motion. I go home tonight. That's motion. I change my position relative to where I was. Okay, I'm sure by now you get what is meant by this motion, right? It's this inner motion. Right? It's like you go from the living room into the kitchen. That's motion. The same as you go from desiring your goal, wanting it, into the inner state of already having it, of already being that. That's motion. So here, the technique of prayer is mastering this inner motion, how to move. If I could only move this night from where I'm seeing certain things in my world that I would like to change, to that position that I would occupy after they are changed. Well, after they are changed, how would I see it? That's why this one ask formation or affirmation, how would I see the world if this would already be true? How would I see the world if my desire would already been realized? Instantly shifts you into this state of, oh, it's done. Okay, how would I see my world now? And you can play with that. I sometimes do it when I make daily walks in the nature, or I just make a daily walk. I walk around, and when I apply this for the topic of wealth, then I really ask myself, okay, how would I walk around right now? How would I see the world? How would others see me if I'm really, really wealthy, if I make the desired amount of income per month or per year? How would I perceive things? How would I perceive this house, this car, this expensive store? And you would see it differently if you are in this new state. And that's the inner motion. Now, that's a change in motion. So a change, not only a safe change bodily, mentally, and in my state. I completely move towards the change relative to others in my world, because everything in my world is myself pushed out. Right? Everything is yourself pushed out. I will soon upload a video called Everything and Everyone is Yourself Pushed Out. That is also one of the main concepts and principles that you definitely need to understand. And you will see, again, you can prove if you've changed, if you just, after you did the imaginal act, or how after you did your exercise and you applied the praying thing that I explained to you in this video, when you then mentally look on your friends, if they see you the same as they did before, then you have not really shifted internally. But if they see you already with your goal mentally, and you see them that they know that you have your goal, then you have shifted and you stand internally now at a new standpoint. And that's the key, right? Watch those videos that I linked above before, like frame of reference and the other ones. You can access them if you click the little, somewhere over here in this corner, there should be like an eye or some button, and you can press on that, and there you will find those videos. Let's continue. So you can place yourself in imagination as any person and dwell in that state as though it were true. Even though at the moment reason denies it and your senses deny it, you dwell in that state and sleep in it just as though it were true. This is the art of praying. Right? It's not any special technique. It's not a something new in the next magic pill. No, it is what you're doing when you apply. Isn't it wonderful? Or revision, or imagining a scene. You are actually like praying when you use that. Praying is just it's just the explanation, like the main thing, and then you have different ways to pray. You can imagine a scene, you can hear congratulations, you can say, oh, isn't it wonderful that now this and that, or I remember when I was in that old state, now in this new state. This all works to place you right now in the new state. So it's not some palaver where you go in and you sit down and you get on your knees, and then you may think this is a little bit dusty, and so you just brush it off because you don't want to soil your dress and soil your socks and you soil something else. That's how people pray in church. Okay, this was really false, but I don't want to go into too much detail into that because this has nothing to do with the usual praying in church and stuff, where you go on the ground and you pray for something. So that's the summary, right? Praying is recognizing yourself to be that which you desire to be, rather than begging God for that which you desire. I assume you get this, right? It's realizing that within yourself, within your consciousness, this state, right, where you already have what you want to have or be what you want to be, this state is all the time available. It is within consciousness. There are infinite states within consciousness. I made a video, I will link it here, called Infinite States and how to shift into them, what we're talking about in this video as well. And that's what it's all about, right? Realize that within your potential, within your awareness, within your consciousness, every possibility takes place right here, right now. And you can access that with your imagination. It's becoming aware of something that's out of your physical focus and that it's within consciousness, but still real, still existing. You can access that, therefore identify with it, occupy it, and therefore be in that state. And your consciousness, your Father, manifests, expresses, and objectifies and externalizes your internal state. Right? So recognize that you already are that which you want to be, you already have that what you want to be, and you get it. That's what prayer is, and that's how you actually pray. So I hope this video helped you. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Thank you really much for watching, guys, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.